Steel Vengeance has been Cedar Point's crown jewel ever since its announcement in 2018. Standing at 205 feet with speeds over 70 miles per hour, Steel Vengeance was the tallest, fastest, longest, and steepest RMC when it opened. Since its opening, Steel Vengeance has been on a roller coaster of a journey. See what I did there? Once being the GOAT and now being overrated, but still a great ride. But today, we are going to take a deep dive into Steel Vengeance and see if it is still the GOAT. First, let's take a quick look at the stats. Steel Vengeance stands 205 feet, which ranks third amongst RMCs. Steel Vengeance has an angle of descent at 90 degrees, which is second amongst RMCs. Steel Vengeance is by far the longest RMC, and it will be probably a while until we see an RMC that tops that. Steel Vengeance is no longer the fastest RMC either, because RMC also stole that record from themselves with Iron Gwazi. So, Steel Vengeance doesn't really maintain any of its records anymore other than length, but it does have one important record still, the most airtime moments. I know a lot of enthusiasts are kind of tired of this right now because of it having so much airtime, but a lot of the airtime is very diverse and very different feeling, and also Steel Vengeance mixes in a few overbank turns and inversions with the airtime as well. Steel Vengeance also has great lateral forces and very strong G-forces at its valleys, which makes it even better. Steel Vengeance also has one of my favorite airtime moments of all time with the outer bank turn, as well as this weird funky going upwards barrel roll. I don't even know what this is, but it looks very fun, and it is very fun when you ride it. It also has this weird kind of stall thing, and it is very weird, but it has very fun laterals and very weird hang time, I'll say that. The only real bad thing about Steel Vengeance, I would say, is the brake run, but honestly, I'm pretty sure that is necessary in order for you to catch your breath before sending you into the rest of the layout, which is just as crazy as the first half. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure Steel Vengeance is a pretty flawless ride in my opinion, but let me just prove that even more. Now, just a quick thing. This is definitely my opinion, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, so I'm not saying that this should be everyone's number one. I'm just explaining why this is still going to be my favorite roller coaster probably for a while until, something unbelievable comes out. But, yeah, so just take that as a note here. I'm not trying to, destroy anyone's opinions or anything. I'm just saying my opinion here. Another reason that Steel Vengeance is the GOAT, in my opinion, is because it has the same layout as Iron Gwazi, just with a lot more mixed in. So Steel Vengeance and Iron Gwazi both take a turn out of the station. Their turns are different directions, but they are both turns and they are both non-banked. Steel Vengeance adds in 2 bunny hills before the lift hill, while Iron Gwazi goes straight into the lift. And both their lift hills are very, very, very similar. Steel Vengeance going up 205 feet and Iron Gwazi going up 206. Steel Vengeance has a 90-degree drop, while Iron Gwazi has a 91-degree drop, so I'm assuming these drops will be very similar. Now, I've not ridden Iron Gwazi, so I have no idea how that drop feels, but I know that Steel Vengeance is a great drop. Next, Steel Vengeance goes into 2 massive airtime moments, one a top hat, and the next one a outer bank turn. Now, Iron Gwazi's first element is an outer bank turn, but I don't know how this one is. It starts off as a kind of overbank and then into an outer bank. It looks very, very fun, but Steel Vengeance has a very sustained airtime moment, but they are both very similar. Next, Iron Gwazi heads into a helix into the dreaded death roll, which is pretty much a downwards barrel roll. Steel Vengeance does kind of the opposite. Steel Vengeance adds in an airtime moment before its upwards barrel roll, so it's kind of like a reverse death roll. So far their layouts have been very similar, with Steel Vengeance mixing some stuff in along the way. But next is where things kind of get weird. So Steel Vengeance goes into this weird funky helix thing, which includes an overbanked kind of wave turn thing and into a weird stall. And you know where Iron Gwazi goes next? It goes into an overbanked hill, but then it goes into its wave turn, which is some weird outer banked turn. Steel Vengeance does not have this element, but it has this weird funky stall thing, which makes up for Iron Gwazi's stall later in the ride. Then Steel Vengeance has 2 airtime pops into the brake run, which is only the mid-course, so you're only halfway through the ride, while Iron Gwazi goes through another wave turn before going into its 0G stall. Then Iron Gwazi goes into a weird trick track double up before hitting the brakes. After the mid-course brake run, Steel Vengeance heads into a double up, a weird twisting airtime hill, into some wave turns, overbank turns, and inversions multiple times with some airtime moments mixed in before its epic 6 bunny hill finale, which is very, very famous amongst enthusiasts. So overall, they are very, very similar layouts with Steel Vengeance mixing some stuff in. Now, Iron Gwazi does seem to split off from Steel Vengeance a little bit after that outer banked wave turn, but that is made up for with Steel Vengeance's ride duration. Pretty much Steel Vengeance has twice the length of Iron Gwazi, so that whole second half kind of makes up for that little section of Iron Gwazi. Anyway, let's move on to the next reason why I think Steel Vengeance is so great. The next reason is obviously going to be the airtime. My favorite elements on coasters are the airtime moments, and Steel Vengeance is absolutely loaded with this. I knew I would hit the jackpot when I rode this coaster, and boy, did I. This is definitely my number one, and it will probably be for a while until there's another coaster that can have as many airtime moments as Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance has the most airtime moments of any coaster in the world, with over 25, which is very crazy. It also has a large duration of airtime moments. Now, I don't know the duration of the airtime. I don't know the specific number, but all I know is that it's the most of any coaster as well. So Steel Vengeance is loaded with airtime, which is my favorite part of a coaster, but it's also loaded with intensity, which is my second favorite part of a coaster. Now, Iron Gwazi is definitely more intense, and so would Zadra be, and a lot of other RMCs are pretty intense also, but Steel Vengeance still has that kind of intense feature to it, which I really enjoy. Steel Vengeance also has this weird, funky lateral and hang time sources on the ride with the inversions and the overbank turns. A lot of the overbank turns are normal until the last one before the Bunny Hill finale, which is kind of weird. And the inversions on this ride give very weird hang time, like I said earlier. So it's just an overall complete and weird ride, and that's why I love Steel Vengeance so much. Overall, Steel Vengeance is the greatest coaster I've ever ridden, and it will probably still be for a very long time. Now, there will definitely be a coaster that tops Steel Vengeance someday. Maybe it will be Iron Gwazi, it depends. But on paper, Steel Vengeance is still the better ride, and in my opinion, it still is too. See you guys in the next video. Bye.